Welcome, new beginners. Thank you for joining the New Beginnings After 40 podcast. I'm Lori.
I'm Kimberly.
I'm Jen.
So last week, we took a dive into my health journey with the Hashimoto's and thyroid disorder and my path with the holistic doctor. And this week, Kimberly is going to take a dive into her health issues, including her surviving her breast cancer. So Kimberly, first, before we get into that, let's talk about our week. So Jen, why don't you start us this week?
I'll start. Yeah.
Okay.
So this week, I started painting again. And I love painting. It is something that I started doing 12 years ago.
Yeah.
We went to a painting with a twist class, and I loved it so much that I went out and bought everything, and I've been doing it ever since. But I go periods of time where I don't. This week is the first time I've painted in like 7 months.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, you used to paint all the time.
I love it. And so it's been great. I've put out 3 pieces of absolute trash, but I'm not going to quit. I'm going to keep trying. And I tried oil for the first time. I've always wanted to try oil, but I know I've been watching Bob Ross my whole life that you have to use paint thinner, and I didn't have any, but I was thinking, it can't be that bad. I'll just use soap and water. Yeah, no, it was that bad. And I just had a little blue on my finger when I started, when I started, it was a little blue on my finger, but when I was trying to clean the brushes, the blue kept getting on all the fingers. So I went to Kimberly's house to see if they had anything I can use. And I used makeup remover wipes, and it worked perfect. So I grabbed 3 and brought them home to clean my brushes. Did not work on the brushes. And then I had all over my hands blue. So I texted Terry and said, I hope you're okay with a girlfriend with blue hands.
She's my little snare.
So I ended up ordering paint thinner and getting it all cleaned up. So I'm gonna have to work on that some more. It's scary. But I did learn that oil blends so much easier than acrylic. I'm really good at blending now. What?
Well, that is wonderful.
Yeah.
Well,
I'm the artistic girl.
I'm just so happy that you are painting again because you do a great job, really.
She does.
1 out of 5 paintings is a great job.
No, she does more than that.
4 are in the dumpster. But I still enjoy doing it.
We have a writer and an artist.
Yes.
Quite the talent.
Thank you.
Anything else go
I
on?
made a joke that I have 3 hobbies: painting, writing, and the podcast, and all of them could make money if I didn't suck so bad. So yeah, no. The only other thing that I wanted to say is I saw a meme and it said, our ducks are absolutely not in a row. One of them is sleeping, one of them is off running the hills, and one of them refuses to move. And I'm pretty sure one of them is a seagull. And I felt that so hard. So hard. So
that is awesome.
I had to save it and let everybody
you should
hear
have
it.
sent me that meme.
Yeah, I should have. So that's it. Kimberly, what about your week?
My week was kind of boring. All I did was I did my closet to where you take all of your winter stuff out and do your spring and summer. And then now that I'm not working right now, I went ahead and just took out one whole side of my work dresses and outfits and I put them up. And then of course, did Goodwill bags and all that. Yeah, it took me 3 days. So it was a long process. And, I just wanted to walk away and say, I give up. But with my husband, he doesn't like me to say this, but I'll just say partial OCD.
Oh, no, he's OCD. Yeah. Anal.
But anyways, because it's just the mess in the bathroom that he can't deal with. And even though he knows I'm going to do this project, he just can't deal with it. So, but it got done.
Get done.
There was a story I wanted to say last week I actually forgot about. So Easter Sunday, or no, I think it was 2 days before Easter, my daughter brings up Easter. Now, you have to understand, my daughter is 17 and my son is 23. So I've been doing something for Easter every year. I've done pinatas, I do the hiding the eggs, the baskets, everything for both of them. So then I'm like, I am not doing this year because they just half-assed go look for the eggs and then they're like tired and all they want is the money.
Mhm.
So I told them, when Melissa came down to my room, I said, oh my gosh, the news just came on and said Easter was canceled this year. And she said, what? Really? And I said, yes, it's canceled. No, it's not. I said, watch, it's going to come back on the news. And so she goes, you're lying. And I said, I can't control the news. And so then she just said, whatever, Mom, and then walks out. Well, so on Sunday, I'm just laying in bed. Actually, I was laying in bed with her for most of the day. We were watching movies. And I'm like, oh, yeah. She's forgot about it. Hey, doesn't care. And then I'm like, oh, okay. And then she goes up to her room late in the afternoon and watches a TikTok and realizes Easter.
Damn TikTok.
Damn. She comes right out. Easter. It's my money.
That's so great.
Oh my God. So I just veiled them money, both of them, and said Happy Easter. I almost got away with it.
I love that you tried.
I did because I always put all my effort into
Yes.
all these things and I get so excited. Oh my
She
God,
does.
let's go look for that egg. Oh,
Mhm.
and then they're just like, there's another one. And then they open it. And if I didn't have money in that egg, they just throw it down. And I'm just like, I'm not even wasting my time.
Okay, so I can back you up with that.
Oh,
Because my husband's family, we've traditionally always gone to, they have a big farm out, and they've always had eggs. It started with candy at first and some money, but then the raccoons would eat the candy. And she'd buy Williams Sonoma candy on top of that, so it wasn't even cheap candy. I mean, it was good, but so then they started hiding all money in the eggs. Okay, so now the youngest one is mine, which is 18. So we just do money eggs, and everybody participates, adults and kids.
Can I go to Easter next
I
year?
know.
So it's quite a collection
I love
because
that.
my family, between the three of us, we typically get about $250 to $300 every time. Yeah.
I'm coming to Easter next year.
This year, my two men in my household, my husband and my kid, they both needed to pay off debt because they've been spending money on their hobbies. And so they were all like, we got to get enough money so we can pay stuff off. And I'm like, whatever, I don't care. So anyway,
Well,
my kid didn't even go because he wasn't feeling well.
Oh, poor baby.
So,
how much did Joey get?
well, no, it's really how much did Lori get.
Oh.
So this year, my sister-in-law is really great at it. So we had gone we have to use the RV for the restroom because we don't have a house at this land. So we go to that. So we decided to take a shortcut to where they hide them. So we do that and we just start there, and everybody else started way back behind us. So we got the eggs all in the front. So then my father-in-law knows how many he hid, right? So we count them all up. So Lori ended up with $100 bill in her egg.
Whoa.
Yeah. So we ended up with still $250, but
Still,
I gave it to
$250.
them. I mean, I
would
don't
do
care.
anything for $250 right
well,
now.
I gave it to them, which
I
really
didn't
is
think.
reimbursing me. Anyway. So, yeah.
Well, oh my, Lori, you're wearing your racing gear again.
Yep.
Well, we all know what that means.
Yeah, but this is a special week. This is Miami. And
Welcome to
if I have to hear
Miami.
that song one more time on TikTok this week, can we get another song, TikTokers, for Welcome to Miami than Will Smith? Because there's got to be more of them out there.
Well,
So-
what about the A1A Beachfront Avenue?
Yeah, that would be better. Actually, before I get into my race talk, I actually saw a video that said if you know you're over 40 when, and that song was playing.
Oh my God.
Definitely all over free.
Okay, so it is Miami week in Formula One world, and so I am sporting, of course, my race gear, but I'm really supporting it because Max Verstappen, my driver, became a dad for the first time this week. Woohoo! And so, he lives in Monaco, so he had his baby, hopped on his jet, and reported to duty on this morning for race festivities and missed media day, which he was not sad about at all because he does not like media, especially in Miami. So I am supporting him this weekend, and so we'll see how it goes. But yes, that's why I'm wearing my race gear this week. So
wonderful. Did you have anything else happen this week?
trying to think. Not really.
So we all had pretty much boring little weeks.
I mean, mine was just work stuff. I mean, nothing sticks out other than that. So
we got to do more things during the week so we can talk about fun stuff.
Right.
Well,
We'll work on that.
Unfortunately, I don't really have a lot of fun stuff. Y'all have more funnier stuff going on with your workout.
We don't have anything funnier. We just are funny about it.
Oh, yeah. We just make fun of
It's
stuff.
us.
Well,
We make fun of us.
Yeah, true. So we're going to get serious today, and we're going to let Kimberly tell her health journey stories, and then next week we're going to dive into some other health issues. But this week's all about Kimberly.
Oh,
Kimberly.
it's my turn.
Yeah.
Okay. Listen, I'm not going to be like completely serious because that's not who I am. Okay. So last week's episode, if you were able to watch, we were talking about me being a VIP person to hospitals because of how many times I have, been to the hospital. And so I actually had counted up how many surgeries. Now, I might be off by one or two, but I've had 19 surgeries, y'all.
You know that show, 19 Kids and Counting? Yours would be 19 surgeries and counting. I'm just saying, it could be a whole episode.
Listen, I'm only
She's a
40,
VIP.
I'm only 49. I'm sure I got way more to go. And then I counted 22 times that I have been admitted to the hospital,
Okay, well,
but no surgery.
before you dive into that, you know how you go to the doctor and you have to fill out your surgeries and
How many pieces of paper?
you don't even have enough lines. What do you do? To be continued?
Well, no, they actually, I'll just write down like the top, maybe eight
The top 10.
that are the most important. And then if they need more, I'll go into that. But my mom actually, because she has a lot of medication, so she has to write down all her medicine. So when she goes to a new doctor, she'll do that. I need to do that for my surgery.
Same.
So I can go, oh yeah, because there were some that I was sitting there counting, and I'm like, oh my God, I forgot about that one. Oh, forgot about that one.
You need
Yeah.
a notebook.
I do. I need a notebook. But
Can you give him a
anyway,
flash drive? Just take this.
okay. Hey, listen. The one thing that I can take away from this, though, is that everyone talks about their health, and I literally just, I've just been through it, but I know many people, and that have had a lot of surgeries, sick in the hospital. I mean, I'm sure we all know those people.
Yeah.
And that's when I actually really think that our bodies are working against us. That is really something I truly believe, that just somehow I've got, this body that works against me. And I will say the number one surgeries that I've had would be it's gut, like everything in my stomach, like gut health. I have a terrible gut health problem. I have, I have a doctor on call there for a long time because I'll have ulcers, and I'll get those a lot. And then I got up this last time, I think in October, I ended up getting on my esophagus also. So I have, I take Linzess, every day. I now,
Yeah, but I think it started back. I mean, maybe you should back up to.
well, no,
I think it started from the cancer route.
no, it actually, no,
You
my
don't think
gut,
so?
no, not my gut. My gut actually started when I was probably early 20s.
Okay.
And so, that and migraines were probably the top, but anyway, so So, with all of that said, it's really hard when you have a body that is working against you because what can you do? I mean, all we can do is I go to the doctor. He tries me on different medications.
Holistic doctor.
Oh my gosh, Lori. I did say I would go
Yes, you
and
did.
try. But it is just, it's complicated. Like, let's say that you have something with your heart.
Mhm.
Okay, well, you're going to go to the heart doctor, you know? And so, unless it's a condition that, you know, just can't be treated, but it's like just not something that's going to just keep happening. Actually, it could,
Yeah.
but I mean that it's going to just keep happening and affecting everything in your body. Gut really does
It does.
affect
So your gut processes
everything in your
Mhm.
body,
Yeah.
everything.
Yeah.
And so that's where I always found it difficult. I even think that was worse than my cancer. Because it's just
Right.
so many.
No, there's a lot of things you can try for your gut health that
Oh.
that we need to try.
Oh, I've been around the block about 5 million times with all different kind of medicines. But right now, I go through spouts of being really good, and then I'll go through spouts where I'm in the bed for a week, or I have to go to the hospital for a week. So that is just to be continued. You just never know with me. I just wish I didn't have this issue of my body working against me, like I was saying. I know y'all know that we've already spoke about that I had cancer. So I'm just what I'm going to do is I'm going to just tell y'all about how I found out. And actually, I want to tell y'all some suggestions if that you were to go get your mammogram, of what to do. And I'm going to just, you know, sum it up of the cancer. And then I just want to talk about a few other things. So back in 2013, I had went to my regular doctor just to do my physical. So I came out of the doctor's office, and right across from it is Soulless mammogram place. So I was like, I'm 38. I don't know. I just said, maybe I should do that. But you have to understand, there's no breast cancer in my family, 0. And so I don't know why my head got it, but it was a good thing. So I made an appointment, and I went to the appointment and did my mammogram. Well, they ended up, and this is the weird part. I don't know why they didn't call me, but they mailed me a letter.
What?
They didn't call me.
Wow.
And they said, hey, it wasn't shadows. There were some things that it didn't take the picture right. We need you to come back in. I mean, that's happened to other people.
Oh, yeah.
And just redo your picture. And I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, great. And so I'm not thinking anything. I'm just like, let's go redo the pictures. They say, hey, can you go to the South Lake office? And I'm like, well, sure. I just wish, and here's one of my tips. I know it's probably hard to always take someone with you to go to a mammogram. Or maybe not just the mammogram, maybe if they call you in for the results or something, or call you back. I think that everyone should take someone with them, because here's what happened to me. I went to South Lake. I redid all the pictures, and they had me sit in this little room. When I say little. And so I was sitting there, and they said, oh, wait, come back. We need to take some more. Okay. So I go and take more. I'm not thinking anything at this point. So I go and do more pictures, and I go back in the waiting room, and now I am waiting forever. All right. So then the lady comes in and said, hey, the doctor wants to talk to you. And I'm like, okay. I mean, and then her office is all dark, and her computer screens are up, and my scan are up there. And then she has me sit down, and then Oh my gosh, I should have looked up the word that I had, and now I can't remember. I am so sorry. But I will tell you, she says, all right, do you see this picture? Do you see all of this grain of salt? It looks like crystals and salts all over. And I said, yeah. And then she says, we need to do a biopsy, but, this is, probably cancer. From that point,
You stopped listening.
my mind went blank.
Yeah.
Seriously, blank. And I have no clue what that she is saying after that. So once she's finished talking and she's like, are you okay? And all I did was I said, can you write that down, the name of it, on a sticky note? And so she's like, yes, of course. So she does. And then I end up, so I think that it was not even about 4 or 5 days later, I went and did the biopsy. All right. So now it was this point, December 19th. I know it's crazy the dates you can remember on stuff. I was sitting at a restaurant. My daughter was in kindergarten, and we were getting out that day for Christmas break. And I was with my daughter's friend's mother. So it was like us four sitting in a booth. So we're just talking, and then my phone rings, and she says, hi, is this Kimberly? At that time, Williams. And I'm like, yeah. And then she said, okay, well, I just wanted to let you know you do have cancer.
Who does that on the phone like that?
I said, oh. I said, now I'm like frozen. So I asked my daughter to get up. I said, I need to go to the restroom real quick. And then I'm like frozen and listening to what she's telling me. I still don't even remember what she probably told me. And I was just flabbergasted. And then, of course, I cried a little bit in the bathroom, not a lot because I needed to keep face from my child. And so, I go back out there and I just, play it off, of course. And so then at that point, I think it was right after Christmas, I ended up going to oncology. Mm-hmm. And then, they just taught me through everything. And then, talk about having a double mastectomy. And once that, then they just walk me through the patterns of what happens. And you're going to go through chemo and you're going to do all of this. But there's one thing I want to kind of date back to because, people don't, I think that people who have cancer, hereditary. Okay. Mm-hmm. But I also think that we still don't really know where cancer comes from.
No, we don't.
So, in my head, I was like, well, it's not in my family. And then I'm like, okay. So I'm trying to rationalize and try to figure something out. And it did take me a few years to come to my decision. But it could be wrong, it could be right. I have no idea. But back when I was 23, Lori, you
we would have been together then.
Yes. Okay. So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know what you're talking about.
So I had just broken up with a boyfriend that I was with for almost 4 years, and we'll just say I was a little flat-chested.
She told me she was an A cup and she did not want to be an A cup for the rest of her life. That's what she told me.
Yeah, but I actually said double A, and I said that my dad told me that I could use a Band-Aid to put on as a bra. The only reason he said that was because that I went to my dad and said, Dad, can I borrow $5,000 to get breast implants? First, he said, no, just go use Band-Aids as your bra. And then he told me, hey, I just washed clothes. Go get a ball of socks out and then just put it in your bra. I'm like, Dad, no, come on, serious. And I said, it's not just, I'll pay you back. We'll do a monthly payment. I really think I need this for myself. I did go through a lot of rough times growing up with my self-esteem. And so he knew that. And so he finally agreed. So my mom and I had went to Abilene. There was this amazing doctor that everybody talked about. So I went to Abilene. And I think, what did I go
We
up
were
to? A
living together then.
double D?
Yeah.
I went from, yes, an A or minus A
Yeah.
to like a double D. Okay. Now, I shouldn't have probably went that big, but I did. Actually, Lori had to take care of me when I got home. And the sad part was that we were moving into a townhome and I couldn't move anything.
No.
So they had to do everything. Oh, darn.
Oh, wait. On a sidebar to that story, since you're going to bring it up, is we were only like 5 doors or so down from her parents,
Yes.
maybe give or take. And so she was staying at her mom's because we were, again, trying to move. And I was working still. So I come home and she's on the floor. So what are you doing? She goes, I can't get up. Because she had the down underneath her arms where you didn't see the scar. So therefore, way more harder to recover from. And I felt terrible for her. That, and she asked me, you're supposed to like massage them.
Yeah.
So they're not cone-like. And she's like, can you massage them? I said, no, that's where I draw the line.
Best friend.
I don't care.
Come on.
I'm a very modest
Jen would have
person.
done it.
I'd have done it.
Yeah, but I'm a modest person. It's not happening.
Oh my god. So, all right, well, fast forward. So for my 30th birthday, I have so many stories about this, but we'll just stick to this. I went to Las Vegas with a couple other friends. And in the midst, toward the end of me being there, I just got a lot of pain in my chest. And then I kept noticing, I was like, one size getting smaller, but it's not like a thing that just deflates completely. It's just taking its time. But I could notice it. Other people didn't, but I'm like, So I went to came home, went to a plastic surgeon in Arlington. And I asked him, and he did whatever test and all that he did, and he said yes. He said, it looks like you have a bunch of scar tissue, and over the last 6 years, it's more 7, it's been rubbing against it, and it's punctured a hole. Mm-hmm. And now it wasn't silicone; it was saline. So I had to go through that surgery. I actually forgot to count that one. Now we're at 20.
We're at 20.
So, anyways, so he had to go in, cut out all the scar tissue, replace them, and that one was a rough one because that when you do that, they're having to drain out all that infection, and that was miserable. And why I bring that up is because then 38, find out I have breast cancer. I just keep going and going and going in my head. And please don't kill me. Don't. This is just my thought, my opinion. The only thing I could think is that this foreign object is in your body. It has ruptured. And over time, maybe, just maybe, it could have been the cause. I don't know. But it's just in my head. And, that it took me a few years to really come to that. And I did. So it literally, I could be 100% wrong. But that's what I have in my head as to how it happened.
She won't let me get one because she's afraid.
Not at all. So then I get the breast cancer. And so then they have to go and take, everything out. Well, then they put in these little, I don't know, it's like a spacers,
yeah,
right?
All this spacer.
Yeah, spacer. And so, oh my gosh, when I had the surgery, when they took them out, this is when I discovered I was allergic to morphine. But they had to give me the morphine. And so I had clawed a layer of skin off of my arms, my stomach, my legs. And then they kept giving me the morphine, but gave me Benadryl at the same time. Yeah. So I was like, oh yeah, because I was miserable. So then after that, what they had me do is start, I think it was, so that was January 9th, no, January 17th then of 2014. And then I started at the end of February. I started chemo. So they put a port in me. Oh, that's another surgery. So they put a port in me, and then I do chemo. So I'm doing chemo. At this point, I'm doing it once a week. So with chemo, it's like you get it on Monday, and then you're like sick in bed. For me, this is me, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. And then I'm able to get out of bed and actually eat some stuff and actually do things Friday, Saturday, Sunday. I mean, that was awesome.
And then rinse and repeat.
Every week. I think it was on my second chemo. Second? Yeah, probably. And so Jen's birthday had come up. And her birthday was on a Monday, the day I get chemo. So I had to ask my doctor. I said, listen, I haven't been drinking or anything like that, but it is my best friend's birthday. Do you think I'll be okay if I just, like, after this chemo, like, kind of just get dressed and go, not, lay down or anything like that? And she said, yeah, but if you start to feel it and feel tired and weak, just, you need to go home. And I'm like, okay. And so, of course, I was a nervous wreck. And so then I did that. So we got all dressed up and went out for her birthday.
She was a trooper.
And yes, I did at the end of the night start feeling bad. And it could have been from the alcohol. But yeah, I was in bed for days after that.
But she was there. She was there, and I told everybody she had chemo today, and she's here for me at my birthday. Oh my gosh, she's the best.
I didn't want to miss it, and her birthday is on St. Patrick's Day too. So that was just a side comment. So I ended up doing that for about 7 months. And then they switched me to every 3 weeks of doing chemo. So that ended up working better. Once they switched me to every 3 weeks, I was able to start back work because that was easy. So they could just give me my chemo on Thursday. Wait, I think we did Thursday afternoons, and then I would take off on just that week of Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and then I was back at work on Monday. So that kind of worked out. So in the meantime of doing all this chemo, I'd have to go to my plastic surgeon to where they were inserting the fluids and stuff into my spacers to get it to where I could get breast implants again. So that took a couple months to get that done. And then I went back and then finally got my implants put back. And I was really, really close to not putting implants back in. I was very scared. So I did. And I think that, when I told you I did double D. So I went down to a D on this one. And then the crazy thing is, I know and then you were there too. So they actually have to take skin to form your nipple.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And then I had to go back and pick a color with a tattoo artist to draw the color I want. What?
Which they do an amazing job. It's really a good job.
I know. I'm like looking down and I go, should I go get it redone? Let's do another color. Should we do blue? Should we do pink? Like hot pink color? I don't know.
But you got to think of how many millions and millions and millions of women go through that.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I think it's really amazing that they can try to make you feel somewhat back to as best as you can with your confidence with it, because that's a lot that you went through.
It was, and especially, and this will be another podcast, especially when you're going through a really bad relationship. And I will just leave the relationship part at this. I think it was after my third chemo.
Yeah, it was not long after your diagnosis. I
No,
feel like.
yeah, that my daughter's dad, stays out till 3 or 4 in the morning, comes back, and why wouldn't I be mad?
Yeah.
Then tells me he doesn't want to be with me anymore.
Yeah, it was.
It was traumatizing. But we're gonna have another podcast for that one.
Do you know that I can? Not that I'm trying to interrupt you, but
Oh yeah, you're fine.
when you're telling your story, I can visualize. Like you're like it's crazy how you remember the dates.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So at that time, I was working off of 635 when they were still redoing 635, and I remember like sitting in my car and you telling me what the story you just told us,
Yeah.
basically. And then as you proceeded on to talk about not very nice person, I mean, who literally does that to somebody when you're diagnosed with cancer? I mean, she didn't even know what her path was going to be at that point. And that's a horrible person to do that to. But, so that's like she said, that's a whole nother podcast. But
that one we could talk hours on.
Oh, we could.
So,
yeah.
And I know y'all probably look at me, and as I'm telling my stories, I'm smiling and I'm telling.
She always does.
I always do. Let me just tell you how my path of going through something serious or bad, what I do. For instance, I find out I have cancer. I go to a bar, and I don't like to say this, but I'm just going to tell the truth.
Yeah.
I'll go to the bar by myself, and I will drink, cry, do everything I want. Because I tell myself, I get one day. I get one day to be sad.
Yeah. She doesn't want anybody there.
Nope.
That is her time.
Yep.
And then when she's ready.
And then the next day, now let's tackle whatever the problem is and let's move forward. But I don't know why I'm that way, but that's what I do for anything that's like, I'm not talking about any small bad thing. I'm just talking about something big. That's what I do. Yeah. I really wish I knew what started that, but I don't know.
The cancer. Well, I don't think you were that way when we were living together younger. I think that's where it started.
It could
to the extent of it.
Maybe to the extent of it.
Yeah.
But I've had other issues too where I've had to do that too. So, all right. So and then I got the implants and then did the chemo. And so I went in January this year. And so this would mark 11 years that I'm cancer free.
Good job.
Yeah. The only thing that always is weird is that my vitamin D is either like 0, but if I'm in the summer or I'm in the pool, then it's always good. But I make sure I take my vitamin D all the time. So, with all of this being said, there's so much more to it. But my biggest things that I want people to know is if you are going, they call you back, or you're going to a doctor, they say the doctor needs to see you. Always take someone. Yes. When I was in the changing room, there was this woman in there, and she had her friend next to her, and they were just joking, and she was putting on her little smock to go in. And I'm just like, man, I wish I would have had a friend here. But I just thought it was just a same old doctor's appointment.
We didn't know.
Yeah, we didn't know.
I got some coming up. Are y'all going to go with me?
Yeah. Let's go. We'll go.
I never really thought about that because honestly, they shouldn't do you like that.
They shouldn't at all.
They should actually invite you to come back and maybe ask you to bring someone. Of course, you're going to be like,
well no, because for 4 days, I'm going to freak out.
Either way, they should call you and tell you.
But I loved how I'm out to dinner.
That's what I mean. They should have never done that.
Oh, by the way, you do have cancer.
They should have made you come in.
So, yeah, that was crazy.
I'll never forget when you called me to tell me I was on my way to a family function. You didn't tell me because you didn't want to ruin my night.
Yeah.
And then she told me, and I was like, I don't care where I'm going. You should have told me that. Honey, you don't.
No. Like I said, I remember where I was.
Yes. I cannot believe you didn't tell me.
I think it's just because I have to process it myself. I've got to process it in my head. I didn't even tell that night my daughter's dad. I didn't even tell him. I just went to a bar and just
Which that's understandable.
and processed everything myself. So that's my first piece of advice. Second piece of advice that I would give is definitely and I know probably a lot of people do, but really try to have people lined up to go with you to chemo.
Yeah.
I wish I'd have known that was an option.
Yeah.
I did until we watched that TV show, that series, and the friend would go with her.
Yes.
I didn't know that was an
I didn't know that either because we would
done
have
that.
signed up to do that. If
Yeah.
we
Well,
hadn't.
it was my fault because I didn't ask them to
You
go.
did.
Yeah.
I didn't because it took hours. And so I didn't want to ask them to, hey, can you miss a day of work to go with me? Because now you have to remember, I'm going every Monday. So that's a lot to ask. So I didn't. I
Kimberly.
think I had out of my treatments, maybe 4 times that I had someone. So actually just what I would do is just put on my headphones and watch Netflix and watch a movie while it was going.
I remember you telling me that's what you would do. Yeah. I never honestly knew you could take a friend until we saw it in a series.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what?
Yeah.
And she goes, oh, what was it? What were we watching? Tell me what in that movie that you love and I hate.
Was it The Fault Between the Stars or no?
No. Mm-mm.
Oh.
It's either Beaches or a series, but
No,
they
Beaches is
went
terrible.
I
So
do
sad.
not like Beaches.
I can't watch that ever again in my life.
Okay, listen. Beaches is a great movie.
Oh my God, you
know
bawled
it.
your eyes out.
You know, but I mean, I guess because I've been through it, and I'm not crying on it. But
you survived.
But I'm like, oh my gosh! And now there's a new series on FX called "Dying for Sex," and it's all about this woman who has cancer, and she's just trying to live her life freely. And so I'm like, oh my God, Lori, Jen, you have to watch this.
What's the first thing we said? Is it going to make us cry?
Yeah.
We don't want to cry.
I don't do that.
I don't know.
But
I like to watch. I don't know. I like to watch. I mean, it was still a good show. So, yeah.
But do you know what? But although at that point, I knew you not quite half my life. I'm half of your life now.
Sure.
But at that time, a long time.
Yeah.
And the thought never crossed my mind that you weren't going to fight. You weren't going to survive it.
Oh, no,
I
it
think
didn't me
I was
either.
never even sad. I'll be honest, because I hated that she was going through it, but at the same time, I wasn't sad that something was going to go wrong because I knew it wasn't.
I wasn't scared.
I wasn't
I will
scared.
say sad.
Well, I was sad she was having to
We
go
went
through it,
and
but I
got
wasn't
the
scared.
little breast cancer tattoo.
We did. So,
And
Jen, myself,
that's me.
my sister,
Your mom?
my mom,
You're gonna make me
my
look like the
mom. I can't believe my mom. Renee, who's my sister's best friend. We all went to, before I started chemo, we went to a tattoo artist, and everyone, we got the breast cancer sign, and then anything, if someone wanted something like mine, I have a butterfly around mine.
Her mom and I have the same one. We have the heart.
Yes. And so, okay, yes, Lori didn't do it.
I don't
but
have one
that's
tattoo.
okay.
He doesn't. It's
won't do
okay.
it.
I
Totally,
do not
yeah.
hold it against her.
I do it in love.
Yeah. I was going to shave my head until I found out how much the wigs were, and I was like, I can't afford a wig.
Okay. So that was
Oh,
my,
that was another thing.
That's
She put
my,
out some great wigs.
that's my next thing. They tell you, well, they told me, if you haven't started to lose your hair in the first 6 weeks of chemo, you're probably going to be okay. So I'm washing my hair, and then weeks go by, I'm good.
Mhm.
And I even almost got through the 6th week. And then I'm in the shower and I go and I do this, and a clunk of hair fell out. And I'm like, oh my gosh. So, I mean, it was just right there. So then next, I think it was a few days later, I'm washing my hair, and now clunks up here have fallen out. So now I am crying. I'm crying.
yeah.
I'm not
I
on the
understand
phone.
that. I
I'm in
would
my
too.
shower. Crying.
Yeah.
So that day, I had to go to a soccer tournament with my daughter. And I'm like, I think she was 5, I believe. It's 6. And so I said, oh my God, what am I going to do? So I wore a hat because we had to leave like in an hour. So I wore a hat. And then after that, then I have my head shaved.
Mhm.
I take Jen we go to a wig place, but it wasn't Wiget, the Wiget place. It was somewhere else.
I don't remember where it went.
Yeah,
it was
I
just
think-
they had
Yeah.
amazing. I wanted one of each.
I need one now.
Yeah. So I did. So I shaved my head.
We both cried.
Cried.
We both
Yeah,
cried.
I get that.
And so wigs are like $300 to $500
Yeah.
and more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The
And-
ones I wanted were $400. And then the baseball cap with the hair.
Yes,
so
I got
cute.
that.
Yes, you did. Couldn't afford it. I wanted them all. And then I'm like, honey, I can't afford to buy a wig.
So what they told me is that if your insurance will cover one wig.
Okay. Yeah.
So I started off because I was blonde, like blonde.
Blonde.
So I started off, I think, with the long blonde hair. I mean, I wasn't that long, but I went long with that. I changed my hair so many times,
Yeah.
you know, the long
Dark.
blonde, then I did a little bit shorter blonde. And then one time, Halloween, I took my daughter's, I had a wig. It was like a blondish brown. So I took my daughter's Halloween black spray and I sprayed the wig all over. And then I went to a Halloween party and it was short hair. And so everybody's like, oh my gosh, she looked so good in that color, you know, da da da. So then now I got to go back and now I've got to buy a wig that's actually for real that color.
I love that brown on you.
Makes
Those are
our eyes
actually
pop.
awesome.
So I had to just do the wigs over and over and over up until it took a long time, but until my hair grew out enough to where I could get extensions.
And then it grew out totally. Remember, it was curly and dark.
Well, yes.
Yeah.
So my hair was blonde.
Yeah.
Even growing up, my hair was that what they call
Dirty.
dishwater
Yeah.
blonde. But when it came back black.
and curly.
Yeah, black. And I'm like, so once the extensions, I did black, I did everything to match it. And then slowly over the years, I would just go back and forth. I would do brown, I'd go back to mid blonde. So I have the best hairdresser, Tracy.
Yes. We changed with the season.
Yes, we changed with the seasons actually. But he's been there for me the whole time and took care of me, and I'm so glad. So that was my journey with that. I still think about it. I mean, of course, I have to go once a year.
Yeah.
I still think about it, but it's not every year, but every once in a while I'll go in and I'll think, oh my God, are they going to find something?
Yeah.
Because I didn't expect that.
Right.
So, but I know I should take someone every time I go get the results.
I'll go with you for the test.
Oh yeah. Well, the test is just blood tests. Yeah.
Okay.
No, I have to go in and give a bunch of blood, and they test everything, and then I go back
That
a
makes
week
sense. I
later.
don't know why I squeezed my
What? But now I don't have to have mammograms. So
Okay.
Mm-mm,
That makes
no.
a lot of sense.
No, I don't have to have mammograms anymore. So
I wanted to know how that works. So
Yeah. yes,
Never
now
mind.
you know. So that there's so much more with me, but those are kind of the few highlights that I just kind of wanted to go over. But just always remember to, for your gut, really take care of it. Make sure you have not oncology, but oh my gosh,
GI?
yes, a GI doctor.
GI doctor.
I love mine. And just make sure you take care of that, because that really can lead to so many issues with your body.
Yes.
A lot.
Mhm.
And I know that we've talked about me having the weight loss shots,
Yeah.
and I've just started back on it. I think about a month ago I started back on it. And yes, and I haven't decided yet if that is an issue with my stomach, because That is on their questionnaire every week, every month
Yes.
you go in.
It's on our questionnaire every week.
It's like, hey, is this shot? You know, do you feel this, and this? So some of it, yes, some of it, no. But I decided after a few months of hiatus that I would go back. And because I just wanted to lose like another 15 pounds. And so, but this time I am working out.
And eating.
Oh.
Eating. So we are okay with it for
Not
right
once
now.
a week.
Smack you.
Oh my God. Not once a week, once a day.
I was
Yes.
about to smack you. No, that's
I
not
eat
what
once a
we're
week.
We actually watched her eat tonight, so we know she ate.
Yes.
Yes, I did actually. But anyway, so that is my main health journey that
Yeah.
we are going to go through. And then when Jen talks next week, we're going to talk about anxiety and stress,
Which we all take part
we
in.
all-
which we actually all take part in. We're going
Yes.
to talk about all of that. And I will tell you that
Yeah.
leads to the big time for the gut health.
That's
Yes,
right.
it
That
does.
anxiety and stress.
That's right.
There's so much. So she's going to talk about that. And then we're going to throw in kind of like what that does to us. Because there are things and changes that I've made because of it.
Mhm.
Jen's made, Lori's made.
Yeah, and I think the very first podcast, if you go back and watch, please go back and watch if you did not watch it. We really did touch on that.
Yeah.
I mean, I touched on why mine started with preeclampsia
Mhm.
19 years ago when, my first child was born. And so to a point that does lead to other things. So,
It does.
yeah.
We all
Yeah.
And
go
we
through
know
it.
that everyone goes through
Yeah.
it,
Yeah.
and some more than others.
Yeah.
I mean, today I woke up and I think within like 45 minutes to an hour of me waking up, I was watching Grey's Anatomy. And I'm just laying there. And then before I get up to do my household chores, yeah, they laugh at me because I say I'm like Cinderella now because
She's like
I
Cinderella.
don't work. So now I'm like having to clean and, cook dinner. And so I said I'm Cinderella locked
Yeah.
in a room. Okay, I'm just kidding. Yeah. But I mean, that's true.
Yeah.
But then I got up and all of a sudden I felt like an elephant was standing on my
yeah.
chest.
Yeah.
I
Sometimes
mean,
they can come out of nowhere.
It does.
and then I just kept,
It's
you
just
just
something
keep
back
thinking.
there.
But do you ever have dreams and you wake up feeling all of that
Oh, yeah.
anxiety
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
and stress?
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah, because I have some crazy dreams, and I try to wake myself up from it, and I wake up like this, and I'm like pressure on my chest, and I'm just like, it's just a dream. It's just a dream.
Yeah, we'll definitely be able to fill up a whole
Oh,
episode.
if not 2 or 3.
I know. On
Or to be
anxiety and
continued.
stress. Oh my gosh, yes. It affects us all. It affects a lot of people, and it's learning to deal with it. And sometimes it feels like we're never going to figure out how to deal with it.
I actually agree with you on
Thank
that. No, I mean, yeah, we'll talk about all the
Yeah.
medication and everything next week. But we really appreciate you tuning in, and if you could, I know that it's some people, they just watch the show and then turn it off, but can you please hit subscribe, just for us, and because we get views, and it's just people not hitting subscribe. So I'm not on my knees, but I am begging. If you would hit subscribe and then like it, that would be great. And then if you have any comments, of course, and then if you think of someone that has these issues that we're talking about, just share it. And then so that they can watch it and say, oh, wow, she went through that too. Absolutely.
Yeah.
So thank you so much for listening and listening to our crazy stories. But I will tell you, I have decided that, during our podcast that I am actually going to tell all the crazy stories that I have done. And I'm going to tell you, there are a lot. So I'll tell one each time, maybe.
There you go. Yeah. One crazy story.
Maybe I should tell my one crazy stories instead of my week because
That would be good.
oh my God, y'all!
Let's do
laugh.
that.
Let me tell you, your mouth would either drop open, start laughing, or going, "Oh my God, I can't believe she just said that."
Okay, so that being said, stay tuned because next week, instead of how did your week go, unless you really had truly something to say,
Or
like this week,
yes, I
you're
love
going to
that.
replace that with a past story.
Okay, I can do that.
I love that.
I can truly do that.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much again, and thank you. Every day is a new beginning.
Every day is a new beginning.
Every day's a new beginning.
Bye.
Bye.